Welcome to CoBB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharavana Raghavan.
Sudeep, the whole objective of CoBB is to get people more interested in marketing and brand building. And you are the AI age CMO who decided to dissuade people from taking up marketing. Why is that?
I'm not trying to dissuade people,
Who comes up with a topic saying marketing is painful?
just trying to paint a realistic picture for all the marketing enthusiasts out there. Because marketing has always been accused of, being an easy thing, something where you're surrounded by glamorous stuff. You keep doing something inconsequential. You ponder over small things. You are a cost center and etc etc and so therefore a lot of the people who first come to marketing, especially b schoolers,
Hmm.
think of it as something where they will get to work with sophisticated folks, get to participate in advertising, attend award functions, etc etc.
But they do.
So sometimes, but that's only not even the tip of the iceberg. So I wanted to make sure that we, both you and I, have this moral responsibility to paint the right picture in front of everybody out there and tell them what marketing really is all about.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because marketers are themselves, right? The only thing they can show off to others about their work is the creative or the ad that they've made or the poster that they've made. Nothing else makes
Correct.
sense to anybody else. So marketers are also to blame for this perception.
Correct. And in fact, some of the better, I can't say I have appeared in many interviews thus far,
Mm.
because I've only changed jobs twice thus far in my career. But some of the better uh, interviews that I've been in usually talk about business problems that you've solved,
Mm.
right? And hence, that's the right way of viewing marketing, because it is one more way of solving a business problem. There are myriad ways. Marketing is uh, a sustainable way of solving a business problem.
Absolutely. Because I was having this conversation just today with the client saying, you're saying your brand expertise, but you're talking about distribution. Why is that? I said, nobody comes to us and says, we have a distribution problem.
Correct.
Everybody says, we have a marketing problem. But when you go and you realize what exactly you're solving for business issues. And it's not necessarily brand or marketing. I think I love that frame. And so let me get to the point by saying, when marketers are not making ads and TVCs, what is it that they're up to that makes it so painful for them?
So, so let me now remove the screensaver and talk about the fact that when marketers are not making advertising,
Hmm.
or what really are they doing, they're usually, what are the components of reality they deal with? Yeah, they will always have a daunting business problem or a task or an opportunity, unclear solutions, which are not served to them on platter, a long list of possible tactics that could solve that problem, at least temporarily,
Okay.
right? And obviously, since they will have some amount of investments, etc., behind them, all of this comes with high expectations, tight timelines, and last but not the least, defined boundaries.
I have a feeling you're setting up your marketing team right now by mentioning all your expectations of them on this one episode.
No, I'm just painting the real picture. This is how we are expected to operate, and I'm putting this up because that is what marketing really is.
True.
You take up a big, daunting business problem and try to solve it from the very basics. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what you've listed are, or what I would say, that tasks or the obstacles marketing has to deal with or the environment.
Hmm.
But let me go deeper. Now, a daunting problem is okay. They're usually resourced with other agencies and support system to enable them to do all this. What
Yeah.
exactly makes this job in marketing so painful?
Okay. Uh, so the reason I call it painful, and I've chosen the word carefully, is that when you have a daunting problem to solve and when you're trying to solve it sustainably, you have to go through layers and layers of understanding, layers and layers of problem solution discovery for you to be able to arrive at something which could possibly give you an answer or the key to changing some kind of consumer belief, behavior, etc.,
Mhm.
such that it can sustainably solve the problem for your company.
You mean you find something that should unlock growth, or is it stopping a problem? Stopping what exactly you look?
Either. So stopping the slide, unlocking the growth, creating a different opportunity, helping you enter a new space, etc., etc. Any
Okay.
kind of business problem that you're looking for, marketing will be able to find solutions, sustainable solutions, by uncovering some kind of a barrier that needs to be solved for.
Basically, you're saying find the problem, and only then can you start finding the solution to it.
Correct. So actually, if you ask me, the first part of the job is to define the problem properly.
Okay, so how can you define a problem properly?
So too often, when the problem is stated, it is always a close-ended problem. And when I say close-ended problem, that very clearly you would have a problem saying this brand is not growing or this category is not growing. That's it. Yeah. Now, one of the core jobs of a marketer is to add dimensions to the problem
Hmm.
such that it opens up the problem and makes it fertile, makes it a fertile ground for everybody to work upon. So you would know that a growth for any category or a brand can be triggered in 2 or 3 ways. So therefore, you start at first examining where exactly does your brand lie, what are the growth levers available to them, and therefore which of those growth levers is not working for you to make that statement.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, Not only do you define the business problem properly, but
Mhm.
you also then spend time aligning it.
With your internal stakeholders, your conviction.
All kind of stakeholders. Yeah. And that's because finally you're solving a problem which all of them believe in. You should be solving a problem which all of them believe is worth solving,
Mhm.
and they therefore should be providing you with all kind of necessary resources to be able to solve that problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just hold you there for a second, Sudeep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when, let's say, I'm the marketer looking to solve a problem, I've defined a problem. Now, where do I go looking for these answers? Should I look at data? Should I talk to consumers? Should I go to the markets? Where is the best place to start? What should I cover?
Actually, everywhere.
Mhm.
I think what you have to do is to first write a set of why questions,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Before you start looking for answers, define the problem and then write down the questions that need answering so that the problem can be possibly solved for, right?
Okay.
So you write down on most of those questions should begin with why, right?
Okay.
So for example, if you are handling a category or a brand, you are the market leader. So therefore, if you're not growing sufficiently, it is possible that somebody else is taking your market share, or it is possible that your category is not growing because of one of the two, three reasons: that you are unable to grow frequency of consumption, you are unable to grow average weight of consumption,
Hmm.
right? When you're talking to your consumers, or you are unable to premiumize.
So let's say if I were to be the brand manager of Horlicks, and I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
Horlicks isn't growing, the MFD
Mm-hmm.
category isn't growing. Now, what is
Mm-hmm.
happening? Why is it not growing? Then I go in and check that people who were previously having MFD are reducing the number of times that they have MFD in the day. That is
Yeah.
how you ladder up, or would
Yeah.
trade
Or
tell me
maybe
something?
Bonvita is,
Losing share.
not is gaining share in my markets,
Got it.
right? So all of these are possible hypotheses,
Hmm.
right? And the indicators to these hypotheses would come from data, would come from observations, would come from why questions that you will ask the trade, your own sales team, your own internal stakeholders, everybody, right?
Okay.
So therefore, first point is to define the problem properly, open it up.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, write a list of why questions which will help you understand and dimensionalizing the process, the
Right.
problem better. Now these why questions have to be administered,
Right.
right? So they have to be administered to, like you were asking, your consumers of the brand, stakeholders of the brand, internal and external, all kinds.
So I
Those
go
are the
back
people
to
who will possibly have
conviction,
answers.
your conviction conversation. So articulating or putting down the why questions is where I'm still building my conviction, right?
Yeah,
And
of
only
course.
after I build my conviction can I convince the internal stakeholders.
Yeah. So you, when by writing down the why questions, you're
Mhm.
still dimensionalizing the problem
Okay.
and trying to build your own conviction on what would have possibly created this uh, problem, right?
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Uh, then you start meeting internal, external stakeholders as well as consumer
Mhm.
with one or two hypotheses,
Mhm.
right? Put those hypotheses in front of them, test them out. It is possible that you might identify one or two of them which are really true, or you might come back with not, and you return back to other hypothesis,
Got it.
right?
You got to be testing
It
all
could
the
be any
hypotheses
of
that you
these
have.
cases. You have to. You have to. So whatever data tells you, whatever your internal team is telling you, whatever external stakeholders are telling you, go test it out, right?
Got
And this is an iterative process. There's no end to how long will it take.
it. Exactly. I think
You
that
can
is
keep
the
going
core
on and
point,
on.
right? Because it's
Yeah,
not like you go in once, you get the answer, you come back and start doing it. It is a bit of a treadmill job.
correct. And you don't know how long will it take. It could take you 2 months. It could take you 6 months. It could take you 9 months. It could take you years,
It's
right?
very ambiguous. That's where the pain starts.
Correct. Correct. And because you have budgetary pressures, you have
Hmm.
timeline pressures, you have everything in front of you. So
Right.
therefore, you don't have the luxury of waiting ad infinitum.
Right. So when do you know you
Yeah.
have an answer, if not the answer?
So this is called peeling the onion. You keep
Right.
peeling, peeling, peeling. Yeah. Whenever you're solving a brand problem, we must always remember that whatever you're searching for always lies in creating some kind of a belief system
Hmm.
amongst your consumers and stakeholders. Since you want them to behave differently from how they are behaving, you have to impact their belief system.
Right.
So, therefore, too often the answer lies in the form of an insight, and which is what we have defined in the past, Sharon,
Right.
where we say that you go through all sorts of consumer ins- uh, consumer statements to find uh, the pains or motivations or beliefs of a consumer,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you find the one that your brand or your product or your service can uniquely own, right? And when you're able to marry both of them, that is when you know you have some kind of an answer which possibly gives you the right to go ahead and talk about it,
Right.
right?
Okay. Now,
And I say this because something that all of us have to remember, that consumer is not looking for a brand. Consumer is looking to alleviate one of the problems that they have. They want to feel, and your brand is just a means to that feeling. So if you're able to find that marriage, is when you know that you have found something.
got it. So once you've found this, what do you do?
Mhm.
You have to go back to the stakeholders or what?
So now, once you found something like this, it is still nebulous. You again go back to defining it,
Huh.
writing it down, articulating it, making it pithier, right? While making sure that it doesn't lose its meaning and essence. Same thing again, when you define something, you write something, you go back to aligning. Now, you have partners, you have people who have partnered you in this journey. So, and all of them have their own vantage points of watching the same process.
Right.
So, therefore, you go back to them, align
Hmm.
your version of insight, your version of solutioning with them. Yeah. And once you've done this, now you know you have something which possibly can solve for the key problem that you were looking to solve.
Right.
However, arriving at a defined articulation or a defined insight does not solve the problem. You have to then create some kind of messaging for the consumer which
Right.
rides on that insight.
And this is not really the marketer's job, right? The marketers, as in,
Of course it is.
it's not their direct job. So why I'm calling this out is for you to address it, you got to create the communication. A lot of people
Yeah.
associate the communication creation to the marketer.
Oh, okay.
That's why I've asked.
No,
this
it is
question.
not. Yeah. So good that you did that. So it is not really creating a communication. You're actually creating a communication brief.
Exactly. Right.
So what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do is to find out what should we be saying such that it triggers a set of change in belief in consumers,
Hmm.
such that they start behaving in the manner we envisage them to behave. And uh, it sounds like, marketers are always scheming and trying to manipulate you, but what they're trying to do is obviously change your belief system to favor their business, their brand, etc.
Trigger a certain action at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so therefore, going back to the point that you were earlier making, you hire external partners to possibly create communication. What
Right.
you do, however, is create a communication brief that allows you to tell the story in a vivid manner to the partner that you choose.
But
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of marketers who take the creative aspect of the job very seriously.
I know.
And instead of briefing, they end up working with the execution team to do the execution themselves. Is that a good thing or bad thing?
I don't think it's a good thing because of two reasons. The people that you're working with, the creative guys, they would almost feel that you are encroaching on their territory. You are restricting their elbow room. They don't come and tell you your marketing strategy, right? So why would you go and tell them the creative? So that is one part of it. Number two is the more time you spend on doing this, remember that's time is being taken away from something else,
Hmm.
right? So therefore that you're not spending that time solving another brand problem or thinking deeply about the current problem, etc., etc.
Okay.
So if you value your time, you will put it behind things that really need solving, which will make the best use of your expertise.
Okay. So let me be the marketer here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing the brief. I've articulated
Mm-hmm.
the problem. I've aligned the internal stakeholders. But the major output that's going to come is going to come from the creative team.
Yeah.
Now, one, you're saying trust them because you should have trusted them when you hired them. Okay. It's a leap of faith, which I will take. But what they come out with, how do I know it's working?
So now, before you hand things over to the creative team,
Mhm.
you want to make sure that your articulation is right. So not only are you testing it with your agency partners, you are actually going and uh, talking to them, aligning them with your internal and external stakeholders.
Mhm.
But what you're also doing, Sharan, sometimes is also testing this articulation with your consumers to make sure that you've understood them well and you've articulated it rightly, such that if done nicely, this can move the consumers in the direction that you want them to, right?
Okay.
Now, after all of this happening, then you hand it over to a creative team
Mhm.
that not only takes it forward, articulates it in the best possible manner, and hopefully lifts it, as we call it,
Mhm.
not just say it like it is, but maybe takes it couple of notches, so that when it finally gets played in front of the consumers feel something at the bottom of their heart, right? And that's the aim that everybody has. What you do before you get to sometimes before you get to the director, sometimes after, with the creative output that has come from them, you also find ways to test it.
Test. So
Yeah.
then I get the testing part, but I have another question because
Okay.
I've seen so many ads go through this and so many communications
Huh.
go through this. Even after you've tested it, does that
Yeah.
mean the success is guaranteed?
No, of course not. In fact, I'm reminded of this. Somebody narrated this incident to me. I was handling Gems at that point in time, and Gems had two product innovations. Now, in all my time at Gems, I
Hmm.
was never able to get a great product innovation,
Okay.
right? Gems had two product innovations that had not worked. Okay. The first was Gems Jungly, and the second was Gems Fruity Gems.
Right.
Right. Both of them came from from the same insight, but their articulation and everything was different. Not get into that, but When somebody told me that when they went to launch Fruity Gems in the field, they put up a big slide saying that people who eat gems love Fruity Gems so much. This is the sort of scores that we receive, and we are launching this only after the product has cleared
Interesting.
this scores. So somebody in the audience, some naughty boy like you, raised their hand and said, "Sir, did you not test Gems Jungli?" Now, obviously, you do test, right? It must have certainly cleared some norms. But that's the beauty about the job, that it's not a perfect science,
Right.
right? Science brings predictability, repeatability, etc. Marketing is not a science,
I
right?
think that
Yeah.
is the core of the pain you're talking about, right? You can do
Yeah.
everything right.
Yeah.
And you can still not have success at the end of it.
And at the end of it, there are both sides that one has to consider. One side of it is the fact that you're always testing stuff, you're ideating, you're iteratively meeting, etc., with a representative sample. Now, the word representative is a loaded one,
Right.
right? So that's one part of it, right? How representative it is, whether it represents all segments of the country or not, right? At least the ones that you really wanted to change
Right.
behavior of. The second part is that whatever you wanted to say has gone through so many phases of rearticulation and alignment that sometimes it loses its original charm, or in fact, more than charm, the meaning,
You
right?
over engineer it.
Over engineer it. And that is something that I used to see when, Cadbury became Mondelez, first Kraft and
Mm.
then Mondelez.
Mm.
They had a specific way of articulating the brand proposition called four box,
Correct.
right? Which was sort of uh, s- uh, aimed to harmonize brand meaning across all countries in the world,
Right.
right? And when you have to appeal to everybody, when you want all kind of brand propositions to be integrated into one,
Mm.
you you know you I think you arrive at what is called the LCF, the lowest common factor,
Mm.
something which
Yep.
no brand manager can deny, yet none of them will feel greatly about it. So therefore, there are so many factors at play, and hence
Yes.
the brand manager or the brand custodian,
Uh,
is supposed to be the custodian of this baby and ensure that through this process, it reaches the end with its essence intact.
mm.
Yeah. And these are all the points, the processes that I was talking about, which is where the pain comes from,
Right.
without the guarantee of success, etc., with all sorts of uncertainty around it. And hence, it is all about solving unstructured, unclear problems in, again, unstructured, undefined, and sometimes non-scientific environments.
Get it.
Maybe tell budding marketers that if you enjoy solving unstructured, unscripted problems, right, in real world scenarios, and have the courage to work on it with a slightly long term horizon in mind, then this is a career worth pursuing. That's all I want to say.
In the age of AI, people reducing their team strengths. And
Huh.
I'm sure you're implementing AI in your team and you're
Yeah,
taking care of it. You're telling marketers the problems are daunting. Solutions are not clear.
yeah,
There are many routes to get there. You don't know what the right answer is. Still, there are very high expectations on you. You
correct,
also have limitations and time pressure. If
correct.
you want to become a marketer, become. It's a challenge. That's how you frame this entire episode.
That's the exciting part of it, depending on which side of the boat you are in.
Right.
You could either say this is too daunting, this is too uh, unstructured for me to play in, or you could say that this sounds really exciting. I would say that possibly, Sharon, this is what mirrors life the best.
Actually, that is very true because there are no right answers in life, right? There's no one
Yeah.
definite path, right? That is true.
So therefore, again, I'm trying to redeem myself and saying that don't get attracted just by the glitzy screensaver of marketing. If solving really large, unstructured problems is something that excites you, and that too in real life, unstructured environments, uncertain environments, this is possibly the career for you.
Hmm. You call that redemption, but I put it in Buddha's words to close. Life is suffering. If you want your career to be the same, become a marketer.
Good one, Sharan. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to CoBB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharavana Raghavan. Subscribe and learn more at cobcast.net.